Hello everyone, this is Ricey and this is Quest Canada. There are 6 major factors that you have to consider or tackle in your study plan. But guys, I have to warn you and caution you, this is not the alpha and the omega of a study plan creation. These are just the guide of the major factors you certainly have to have in your study plan. The first one is your professional background. Your professional background is not your resume. Your study plan, as a matter of fact, is not your resume. You do not have to enumerate every single thing you did so far in your professional background. You have to focus the latest experience that you have, wherein you do not have the edge anymore amongst your peers or amongst the people in the industry. Therefore, having no edge means you do not get to upgrade your position or your profession within your industry or within your company. There is a lack of professional growth because you have reached either the ceiling of your of the corporate ladder for your education or your experience so far, or you are just not edgy, or you're not competitive enough. Therefore, you are stagnant. Now, there are instances wherein your chosen program is entirely different from the experience or latest experience you have had or you have in your history. And with justification of this chosen program, you can make this sensible or logical justification by citing more opportunities in the industry or the program that you have chosen. There are higher opportunities for growth and even higher average salary as compared to your current profession. But upon saying this in your study plan, you have to certainly make that comparison and have those studies or articles or statistics that justifies what you want to mention in your statement. The second important factor for you to tackle is your financial capability. You have to truly justify that you have got the money to cover your expenses and your living costs, tuition as well, when you are studying in Canada. If your course or your program is for 2 years, then make sure that you have got the cash to show as a proof fund that you are able to cover the 2-year cost of tuition in your bank statements. If your tuition per year is 12,000 and your program is for 2 years, so then that's 12 times 2 is 24,000, and then you have to add the cost of living. Let's say the cost of living per annum is 13,000, so that's 26,000 plus 24,000, meaning between $45,000 and $50,000 should be in your statement or in your cash account. But the thing is, you cannot just say that you have so much money if you are not able to prove it. You have to have the documentations and proper documentations to support such. If there is a need for you to have a sponsor, then do so. But your sponsor should certainly provide their bank statements, their properties, their investments, their business documents if they have such, and prove that they have got the capability to support you. The third factor is your compelling whys. The compelling whys should answer the questions: why Canada, why the school, and why the program. When you talk about why Canada, this is an easier part because you can mention that your country is absolutely far behind when it comes to education. Canada is a first world country, it's a developed country, and therefore the facilities of different schools here are on top or are really competitive. When you answer the question, why the school, you can mention multiculturalism, or the school has got great standing in its curriculum or in its overall ranking across Canada. The cost of tuition is cheap perhaps, and multiculturalism within the community where your school is located at, those can be sensible and really good justification on why you chose such a school. All of this information are available in the downloadable file. Visit my website and you will have more information about how to be an international student in Canada. The third compelling why is why the program. This why the program question can be answered by citing your curriculum and identifying the specific units in that curriculum wherein you will see growth in your professional, personal skill as well, and relate those improvements or those curriculum with your personal and professional background, and how can those units help you become more edgy or more competitive in the industry that you have chosen. The fourth factor you have to tackle in your study plan is your travel history. Your travel history encapsulates your experience with other people, with other countries, with other culture, and therefore gives the hint or the idea to the visa officer that you oblige by the rules and regulations of every country that you go to. Now, it could be a different story if you have not really traveled. You can always justify that you haven't traveled or have had the chance to travel because you had to take care or tend to the requirements of your family, or you focus on the growth of your profession. Even if you have not traveled, you have to justify and confirm that you will oblige by the rules of Canada and leave the country as soon as your studies are completed. Home ties is your fifth factor that you certainly have to tackle in the study plan. Home ties are the reasons why will you go back to your country after your studies. This is the overall, really this is the end game. What are your plans and how do you justify these plans to the visa officer, saying that what will you do to your life after studying? And always the answer is you will go back home. But the question is, what will you go back to? You have to mention that you have your family there, you have businesses there, you have your properties, perhaps your land, your house, your investments, your stocks, your payments on government pension, etc., etc. Whatever ties you to go back home after your school. If you are a foreign worker, always mention that you will go back home to your original roots, to the country where you were born. You will not go back to the country where you're working right now. If you are in the Middle East, you will not go back to the Middle East because you are not a resident. You are not a permanent resident of those countries or of that region. The next factor that you will tackle in your study plan is the plan after studies. Patriotism and nationalism are key determinants here. Your goal of being educated in Canada is not just for your own benefit. It is for the benefit of the community where you belong. You will share your experience and your education with the people around you. And this is a bigger dream or a bigger concept than just being yourself or having the benefit just for yourself. And the seventh one is your final push. This part should be sweet, concise, and just short. You can mention that you have got the high regard for education. Education thus far had been a key for you to develop your career, your profession, your personal capabilities as well. It's not just the professional growth really that you're after too. These are also your personal and your skills that you wanted to improve. Now, there are things that you must not do with your study plan, and the first one is never ever copy a study plan because your story is different from any other person's story. Your story is your own. Number two, facts and proofs. Do not ever state anything without justification or proper documentation. Number three is your proof of funds. It doesn't really matter if you have got millions and millions of money in your account. What's important is how do you justify such amount of money and how do you prove that such amount of money is really and truly yours. Number four is to review your study plan, and not just you. You have to have the other two sets of eyes to review your study plan.